Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for today's NBA slate on Saturday, April the 5th. Now, we only have 5 games today, so it is a smaller Saturday slate. Also, one of the games today does start at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, so it actually starts in like a few hours. I'm not going to give out a play in that game. The plays I'm going to give out in this video, 2 plays for today, they're going to come from the later games, so hopefully, by the time you're watching this video, you'll be able to get these plays in. But yeah, we got 2 picks today, guys. We're going to break down these 2 plays. We're going to talk about why I like them. Now, before we do get started, make sure that you guys hit that like button down below. If you do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel, and if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, go sign up. Use promo code NOAH when you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and place your first $5 lineup. You're going to get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. This is an easy way to build up your bankroll on Prizepicks. You don't have to deposit a bunch of money. You can just put in the minimum, and you'll still get those $50 worth of promo funds when you play your first $5 lineup. So check out Prizepicks if you guys have not yet. And also, I do want to shout out Sleeper because we do have a partnership with Sleeper as well. You guys can go sign up for Sleeper. Use promo code NOAH over there, and when you play $5, you're going to get $55 worth of free lineups. Now, if you don't know what Sleeper is, they're just a DFS pick'em app. They're very similar to Prizepicks, really simple, easy to use. You're just picking more or less on player projections. You're building out a lineup. You can make up to an 8-pick lineup on Sleeper, and you can win up to 100x your money. And Sleeper also does a lot of discounts throughout the week. They're doing promotions. Sometimes they'll do free squares, payout boost, protected plays. Like, they do all that stuff. So you guys definitely need to be playing on Sleeper. And again, if you don't have an account over there, sign up and use that promo code NOAH. So that way, when you play your first $5, you're going to get those $55 worth of free lineups. But yeah, guys, we got 2 plays to talk about today for Saturday. Now, I do want to recap our plays from Friday's video before we go over today's plays. So we gave out 3 picks Friday. One of them was a DMP. We did take a Anthony Davis over. He didn't play on Friday. But the other 2 plays looked really good, man. That neither one of them hit, but man, I felt so good about those plays. And going into like halftime, it was looking great. We took Malik Monk over 22.5 PRA, and I want to say he had like I think 17 PRA at halftime, and then he played like 5 minutes in the second half, and that was it because it was a blowout. Now, can I complain about a blowout? No, because that spread was it was a double-digit spread, so it wasn't surprising to see it be a blowout. But I mean, Monk only getting like 5 minutes in the second half was kind of crazy. Like I definitely would have expected him to at least play more than that. A lot of the other starters, were still out there, and Monk wasn't. It's kind of weird. Monk got a really short rotation in the second half, and then that was it. Like he just didn't play the rest of the second half or rest of the fourth quarter, even when all the other starters were still out there. So that was frustrating. And then we took an over on Kyle Filipowski. We took his over PR. I think at halftime he had 16 or 17 PR, and we needed him to get 26. So it was looking really good. And then he just didn't do anything in the second half. Was playing terrible. Shot the ball terribly. I think he shot like 3 for 15 or something from the field. So that was super frustrating. I mean, both plays were looking great, and then neither guy did anything in the second half. And that's just how it goes sometimes. Missed our plays on Friday, but we'll see if we can bounce back here with these 2 picks for Saturday. Go 2-0 on these 2 plays. So both the plays that I do like for today are going to be fantasy score props. And if you're new to Prizepicks, if you don't know how fantasy score works, very simple, very self-explanatory. You can just scroll down. You can look at scoring chart. You can see how fantasy points are calculated. I came into this industry from a DFS background, so I played a lot of daily fantasy sports. 8, 9, 10 years ago is when I started playing daily fantasy. So I'm very familiar with like fantasy points and how fantasy points are calculated. And if you're in my Patreon, if you've ever followed me for a while, I like to take a lot of fantasy score props. I think fantasy score props give the biggest edge on Prizepicks because these are lines that Prizepicks has to come up with themselves. They can't copy these lines directly from a sports book. So there's always going to be an edge with fantasy score, in my opinion. And the 2 fantasy score props that I do like for today, the first one that I like is going to be Jared Butler for more than 22.5 fantasy score. Now, this is a lower line on Jared Butler, likely due to the matchup against Minnesota. Obviously, Minnesota, great defensive team. They've been a strong defensive team, really this season and the past few seasons. But Butler is a guy that is, fairly productive when he does get minutes. And if you look at his game log as a starter this season with the Sixers, he has gone over this fantasy score line in 10 out of 12 games that he has started with the Sixers. He did start last game against Milwaukee, and he has started a lot of their games recently. I'm pretty sure this game against the Knicks, he did not start this game for whatever reason, but he did start this game against Toronto. He started this game against Miami. He did not start this game against the Wizards, but still went over. The Sixers, I mean, they're shorthanded right now. They're missing pretty much all of their main guys, like, obviously Embiid, Paul George, Maxey. They're all out right now. But they also don't have Kelly Oubre. They don't have Andre Drummond. I think Kyle Lowry, I want to say, is out for this game, or he's questionable. Even if Kyle Lowry plays, like, he's not really going to play a lot of minutes. So this Sixers team is really, really shorthanded. And we've seen Jared Butler have a pretty big role. Like, he's consistently playing 25 to 30 minutes pretty much like every night, whether he starts or comes off the bench. Obviously, if he starts, you feel better about his minutes. But just over their last 6 games, I mean, 33 minutes, 26 minutes, 30 minutes, 27 minutes, 24, 31. And then the games he has started over their last 5 games that he has started, he's played 28, 33, 30, 27, 31 minutes. So we're going to get the minutes from Jared Butler. He's a guy that can be productive when he does get minutes. If you look at his fantasy points per minute, with the Sixers, he's averaged close to a fantasy point per minute. So on average, when he plays 24 minutes, he typically can put up about 24 fantasy points. Now, obviously that can change depending on matchup. Obviously for better matchups, maybe his production is better. For worse matchups like this one, maybe his production's a little bit down. But if he's going to start and play 26 to 30 minutes, a 22.5 fantasy score line, I definitely think is a little bit low on Jared Butler, especially given how productive he has been when he's gotten minutes. He's a guy that typically can average around a fantasy point per minute. And another thing that I like is that I think Jared Butler would still play in a blowout. So obviously the Sixers, they don't have a very good team. They're going to get blown out a lot. They're 16.5 point underdogs today. But if we look at some of their recent games, they had a recent game against Miami that they lost by 23. And Jared Butler still started that game and played 30 minutes. And if you look at the rotation, so Quentin Grimes didn't play at all in the fourth quarter of that game. But they closed the final 6 or 7 minutes was Adem Bona, Jared Butler, Justin Edwards, Ricky Council, and Marcus Bagley. So in that game where they were down by 25-30 in the fourth quarter, Jared Butler still played the final 6.5 minutes of the fourth quarter. So I think Jared Butler, even if it's a blowout, probably still gets minutes in garbage time, which garbage time, that's going to be great because obviously in garbage time he's going to be playing a lot of the Minnesota backups. So I like this spot for Jared Butler. I just think this fantasy score line is a little bit too low. I think it's a tough matchup for Quentin Grimes. Probably going to have to go up against, Jaden McDaniels, who's a great defender. It's a tough spot for Adem Bona, having to go up against Gobert, who's obviously great at protecting the rim, protecting the paint. I think if there's anyone from Philadelphia that can maybe, have a good game here, it could be Jared Butler. And with this fantasy score line of 22.5, this line's low enough that I'm willing to bite here, even in kind of a tougher matchup against Minnesota. So that's the first play I like. And then the other play that I like, again, is another fantasy score prop. And we're going to take Asar Thompson for more than 27.5 fantasy score. So Asar Thompson's been playing really well lately. Minutes are starting to tick up, which is something that we like to see. Has gone over this line in 4 of his last 5 games for what it's worth. Now, Thompson's minutes have been up lately because the Pistons have been without Tobias Harris in some of their games recently. Also, they've been without Cade Cunningham for the last 6 or 7 games. But I don't think Cade Cunningham being out impacts Asar's minutes too much. Obviously, if Cade Cunningham's out, Dennis Schroeder is going to be the guy that picks up a big amount of minutes. But you look at Asar Thompson's minutes lately, just over their last 8 games or so, he's played fairly good minutes. So last 8 games, he's played 28.5 minutes. Then he only played 16 against Dallas, and then he played 9 against the Pelicans, but he had 4 fouls in 9 minutes. So obviously foul trouble cut him down there. But lately, 27 minutes, 32 minutes, 34 minutes, 30 minutes, 32 minutes. I think barring foul trouble, barring a blowout, we can typically project Asar Thompson to play 25 to 30 minutes. And obviously, if Tobias Harris were to miss this game again, we could project Asar for even more minutes. Now, it is a back-to-back for the Pistons. They did play yesterday. Cade Cunningham did not play yesterday. He was questionable, did not play. Tobias Harris was already ruled out yesterday, so we'll see if Tobias Harris plays on the back-to-back. Maybe he doesn't, and obviously that would be even better for Asar. If Cade Cunningham doesn't play either, that's going to be even better for Asar. But you look at Asar this season, when he has started and played at least 24 minutes, he's gone over this fantasy score line in 17 out of 20 games. So he's a guy that can be really productive. Even if you just give him 24, 25 minutes, he can still go over this fantasy score line. He's been a productive player when given minutes. He's averaged 1.13 fantasy points per minute this season. And one thing that I like about Azar is that he is very good at getting steals and blocks. And if you don't know how fantasy score works, steals and blocks are worth 3 points each. So Azar can have really good games for fantasy because he just racks up a bunch of steals and blocks. Like last game against Toronto, he had 3 steals and 2 blocks. The game against OKC, he had 3 steals, 3 blocks. The game against Cleveland, where he went off for 49 fantasy points, he had 4 blocks, 2 steals in that game. Like, he's just a player that does everything. He can score, he can rebound, he can get assists. The minutes have been up lately. We'll see if Tobias Harris and Kay Cunningham play here on the back-to-back. Even if they do play, I still think Azar probably plays 24, 25 minutes. And if you give him 24, 25 minutes, more times than not, he's going to go over 27.5 fantasy score with how productive of a player he is when he's on the floor. Also, another thing, this game has a really, really high total. It's got a close spread as well, 240.5 total, 2.5 point spread. So this is projected to be a fast-paced, high-scoring, and competitive game, which obviously is a plus as well for Azar. Azar is a player that typically does well in games that are fast-paced, where he can get out in transition, push the pace, because he's a guy that can rebound well, he can push the pace, he can facilitate. So yeah, like this spot a lot for Azar. Going to take him for more than 27.5 fantasy score. So we got 2 early plays, guys, for this slate on Saturday. Again, it's just a 5-game slate, so not going to go crazy here. Just got 2 plays for today. But hopefully we can go 2-0. We can hit both these plays for this Saturday slate. As always, appreciate you guys watching these Prizepicks videos and supporting the content that I do put out here on YouTube. Hit that like button for me before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. And make sure to go sign up for Prizepicks too. If you're not signed up for Prizepicks yet, guys, use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up. And again, when you play your first $5 lineup, Prizepicks is going to give you $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account, which then you can use to hopefully win some money with. Use that $50 to play lineups, win some money with those lineups. But yeah, guys, that's all I got. Appreciate you guys watching. We will see you in the next video.